Hi, I'm Josh, your English learning guide, and welcome back to the English Hacks Pronunciation and Ear Training course. Today we have a special video. What we want to do here is to compare these and make sure that they're all nice and clear in your ears. And of course, we do want to make sure that you can say them correctly, but I can't particularly help you with that. Make sure you work with a partner or teacher. So today we're going to see 4 words. We're going to play the 1, 2, 3, 4 game instead of the 1, 2 game, which is a little more complicated, but it'll really give you one final test before we move on to the next vowel sound. Okay, so remember up here we have E, our first vowel sound, which in IPA is a lowercase I. Here we have I, which in IPA is a capital I. Here we have E, which in IPA is that backwards 3. And here we have A, which in IPA is that weird AE combined symbol. Okay, now before we move on to the 1, 2, 3, 4 game, I want to do a quick little review of the positions and things to remember about these sounds, right? So this deals more with the production part, where this over here will deal more with the hearing or listening part. So we have the E, which remember, E. You don't necessarily have to pull the lips out, especially so wide, but we tend to. E. Remember that this is top teeth right here. This is the top of your mouth. You can take your tongue. It's going to be very close up to this corner where your teeth go into the top of your mouth. And with the E, remember there's usually this sort of little curve to it as we get close here. Some languages are a little farther forward, some languages are a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but that's the placement. So again, you probably already have this sound or something very close to it, and that's how we do it, E. Next we have the I sound. And remember here, you simply want to drop down a little bit. You're not going to open your mouth a whole lot. We don't want to use the sides of the mouth like we did with E, right? I. You can kind of pull them back a little bit, but you shouldn't be smiling. That sort of E curve will disappear. We want to get rid of that. And you just kind of open your mouth a little bit. Just open a little bit. E, I. E, I. E, I. You don't even have to open your jaw. You can just do it with your tongue. That's all it is. You're just kind of coming down a little bit. We're still in the top part of the mouth here. Remember, so your mouth is quite closed. So this is your top teeth here, your bottom teeth here. E, I. All right. Next one down here, you want to open a bit more. Remember, this is that whole middle area here. I might be a little bit off from the actual chart, but it's somewhere around here, that's fine. And we want to open the mouth a bit more, because instead of being this closed, now we want here so that we can have that space. And remember, what we often do is the front of the tongue, this is your bottom here, front of the tongue might kind of be relaxed underneath those teeth there, but the sides of the tongue tend to kind of come up onto the sides of the teeth and rest. It doesn't have to be like that necessarily, and we also might kind of pull out the sides a little bit. Just helps us get the mouth open a bit more. The main point is that the tongue should be pretty flat for the most part, and you need to get your mouth open enough so that it doesn't sound like I, and that it's not too open to where it sounds like the next sound. That's the trick here, right? Again, you probably have a sound like this or this sound, depending, so that's not too difficult. But the next trick is a sound that you probably don't have, which is this one, A. And remember here, we're not trying to open as wide as possible. It's not ah, right, anything like that. It's just ah. So it is very open, and it might be more open than whatever you're used to. But again, many languages have a sound either here or here or here, somewhere in there that sounds kind of like ah. So you're probably used to opening that much, you just gotta get that tongue forward. And as I said in the ah video, if you remember a little while ago, the tongue is down here. This is the bottom of your mouth. You can kind of take the tip here, set it in here, And you might want a little bit of a curve. There might be a bit of a dip here. Okay. Ah, ah, ah. So it's probably easier to kind of try to do what my tongue does rather than look at this, but mouth is open, tongue is there. And in fact, here's a little trick. This may not work depending on your native language or exactly how you try to do it, so you might still want to get feedback for this. But a nice little trick that often works. If you go up into this E position, and then you drop a little, and then you drop a little, and then you drop a little. Okay, in this E position, one thing that you can do is you can take the tip of your tongue and sort of anchor it, or set it here, touching these bottom teeth on the inside. Okay, this is the outside, this is the inside in here, okay? And so you still have that same position, that same sort of shape, and you're just gonna touch the tip of your tongue to the inside of the teeth, not down here, not on the top, just sort of right underneath. And if you do that and your mouth is close enough, E, E, E. Now I do feel a bit of a curve here that it gets even more, because we don't want this to be too low, because then it'll sound like I, okay? But you can anchor it there, E. Now if you keep that anchor and you just kind of open your mouth a little bit more, I, E, I, E, I. There's not a whole lot of difference, okay? You're just kind of opening and not really moving the tongue at all. Now if you go from I to eh, same thing. Keep the tongue there and just drop down more, open your mouth more. E, eh, eh. E, eh, eh. I'm just keeping my tongue right there. I'm not really moving it or anything. I just put it there. E, eh, eh. E, eh, eh. So you just open your mouth more. With this ah sound, same thing. Same thing. E, eh, eh. Ah, ah. This one might be a little bit more difficult to keep it there. You might have to do a little bit of adjustment with the rest of your tongue to kind of make sure it's nice and open. But it should work pretty well. So the ah sound is a little tricky to get perfectly, a little difficult. But generally, in many cases, if you just kind of use that anchor and then slowly open enough, but not too much, then you can actually hit each sound. So you can maybe work with a partner or a teacher to make sure that when you do that, you sound good, and you can use it as sort of a reference point or an anchor point, like we talked about in a previous video, so that you have all of these nice and set in your brain. Okay, a very easy way to do them. So now they're all connected in your mind. We're gonna choose 4 words here, and we're gonna start with beat, bit, bet, bat. So we're going to do this mostly the same as before. There will be 4 words here, and I will say one of the words, you will guess the number. Okay, that's pretty easy, it's the same thing. However, because there are so many words here, and because it will make it easier for you to guess, I will not be saying all 4 after I give the answer like I usually do in the 1-2 game. So this will just give you the answer to let you know if you were correct, but there will be no further comparison of all 4 together. Okay, so are you ready? We're going to start at sort of a normal, slower speed. Bit. 2. Bat. 4. Bit. 2. Bet. 3. Beat. 1. Bet. 3. Bit. 2. Bit. 2 again. Bat. 4. Okay, we'll speed it up, say it a bit faster. Bit. 2. Bet. 3. Beat. 1. Beat. 1 again. Bet. 3. Bet. 4. Bit. 2. Bat. It's 4 again. Okay, so I hope you did well on that. Let me know down in the comments below. Okay, now at this point, if you got 100% on that, in both the slow and the fast, then I think you should be fine, at least in terms of hearing. And of course, remember, these are in isolation, in flow of actual speech. Yes, it's not going to be as easy, but again, this is the basis, and we're going to build on this as we do more things and learn more things. And we need this to sort of get it into the flow of your hearing, as well as the flow of your speech. So it's completely possible that you can hear these, but you still can't quite consistently produce them clearly and separately, in which case definitely make sure that you work with someone to do that, or have someone check you to make sure. But if that was pretty easy for you, fantastic. If you had some trouble with that, I will have a special homework. It's optional, you don't have to, but I do highly recommend it if you didn't get 100% or at least 90% on that. Okay, inside that minimal pairs folder, you will see a folder called 1, 2, 3, 4. And inside that folder, there will be files that you can use. So one will be just like we did here. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 game. Okay, so you'll just be able to continue just like you did here, but with different words. And then there will be a second recording, which probably won't be quite as useful, but it can be very useful, especially if you work with someone else to do this. So the second file is going to be, instead of focusing on your listening, it's going to be for your production, right? We normally have 2 files with this type of homework. So the second file here is going to basically just be listen and repeat. So for example, if it was beat, bit, bet, bat, right, in that order, we're not going to change the order because it would be confusing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, you'd hear beat and you say beat. Try to say it as accurately as you can based on what you hear. And then you'll hear bit, and then you say bit. So as always, don't forget to leave your questions or comments down below. Thank you guys, as always, for watching another English Hacks video, and I'll see you in the next one.